What is up, guys? Edgar here, lifestylesdefined.com. Welcome back to LD Photo. Today I'm going to give you my take on the Rokinon 85mm f1.4 lens that I purchased a few months back. The original reason why I purchased it was to focus more on portrait photography. So stay tuned and I will give you my take on the Rokinon 85mm f1.4. Alright, so the way I'm going to do this, I'm not going to go into detail on the actual build quality of the lens. If you want to see that, please check out the unboxing on that lens. But what I'm going to do here is show you a series of photos that I'm going to describe to you to basically give you my impressions and my experience with the Rokinon lens. I did pair it with my Sony A6000. And I also will show you a couple of shots that I did with high-speed sync using the flashpoint trigger and speed light. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be action shots. So the Rokinon is a manual focus lens, so action shots are going to be very tricky. In fact, the only way that you can pull them off, unless you're like quick draw on that focus ring, is to compose your shot before the action happens. So on screen, I have my nephew doing a backflip. What I did is I did a series of test shots. I knew exactly where he was going to be before he did the backflip. And so I knew where to have that focus. And as you can see on this shot, he is sharp. I shot it at around F4, I believe. So as you can see, he is very sharp. This isn't the raw file. It is actually something that I already processed. I didn't do any sharpening. What I did do though was fix the colors and the white balance. But as you can see in this shot here, he is very sharp. The background is blurred, so you can see that there's definitely you can see that the subject pops from the background, and that's something that I wanted on this shot here. And there's I did shoot it with the 11 frames per second on the Sony A6000, but again, I think that the lens performed really well on this shot here. So as far as action shots, make sure that you know where the action is going to happen. In fact, I probably won't do a lot of action shooting with this lens, but that was just to show you guys what it is capable of if you do decide to do some type of action shot. So there's that photo. This photo here is of my girlfriend. We actually went to we did a little photo shoot for my daughter's 9th birthday. So this is at Scott City Lake, and as you can see here, the background is blurred out, and she is sharp along with the rocks in the foreground. So you have that disconnection between the background and the foreground. No sharpness was done to this. Again, this was just your basic color grading and white balancing and all that good stuff. But again, you can see that she is very sharp on this image. The rocks are really sharp, and the background, again, it is nice and creamy. So as you can see, the Rokinon performed really well here. No issues with it here, no vignetting or anything like that. So I really was impressed with that shot. Now this shot is of my daughters here. So as you can see, they are twins, not identical. So this is one of the photos that we did on that photo shoot. One of the things that I noticed when you do have a bright background or the sun is the actual backlight, is that you do get a bit of fringing when you shoot wide open. So this shot was taken at f1.4, and I don't know if you can see, but what I did is I basically got rid of the fringing. But you can see around the arm here, the forearm, there's a little bit of purple fringing there. But that is something that is easily fixed with post-processing with Lightroom, Photoshop. I use Affinity Photo, which makes it super easy to get rid of fringing. That's something that you will notice when you have a bright background and your subject is in front. You are going to notice some fringing, but once you get that going to the slower aperture, or you close it down, you will notice that the fringing does disappear. Otherwise, you have to do it in post-processing. But again, image here, f1.4, They are actually, you know, pretty nice and sharp. Not the sharpest image, but they are sharp. Again, remember that this is a manual focus lens, so some of that is lands on me and how I actually focused the actual photograph. So this was something that I was very impressed with. Again, a little bit of fringing, but nothing too much to complain about on this shot. This one here was a shot that I took in Mexico. This young man here, as you can see, he's pretty sharp, and as I zoom in, you can see that he's actually pretty well focused. Again, manual focus, so I must have done a really good job. One of the things that I did with the camera was that I set one of the custom buttons to magnify my screen so that I could it would help me with focusing, so that I could see exactly how sharp that focus was before I took the shot. So that's one thing that I did, and that's how I was able to pull off some of these sharp images. So again, very impressed with this. There was a little bit of fringing along the collar of this young man's shirt, but that was something that I kind of got rid of in post-processing. There's still a little bit there, but nothing too noticeable. Again, that's something that you have to keep in mind. For me, it's not a deal breaker. The lens performs very well, so a little bit of fringing is not going to discourage me at all. Moving along to this image here. This is an image, a self-portrait of my girlfriend and I. I was actually using my Proline tripod. I mounted the Sony A6000 with the Rokinon lens on. All these photos so far have been with natural lighting. So as you can see, both her and I are very sharp. I did do some color adjustments here, but no sharpening was done. So again, the lens is very sharp. Once again, it is an 85mm focal length, so you do have to, you know, set that camera pretty far away from you to get a full size picture of a full body person, unless of course you switch it to portrait, but I'll show you one of those shots here in a little bit. Again, this was a very nice shot. One of the things where I noticed fringing was along my back where the sun is coming in through the window. That's where I noticed the fringing. However, with Affinity Photo, I was able to minimize that to where it almost disappeared. So again, I was very impressed with the actual shot. Shot this one here at f1.4. This is a shot that I took of a pair of Ray-Ban glasses. It is a product shot that I do for my work. And so I wanted to show you guys how nice and sharp that was. Shot it at f1.4. I wanted that background nice and creamy, and I wanted the actual subject to pop from the background. So if I go ahead and come in here again, you can see how sharp the image is. You can see me on that left lens right there, or on the right lens. You can see me sitting down. You can see my sneakers and that wheel of the car that I'm next to. Again, you can see here what's in focus, but again, I think it performed really well. I don't think I got any fringing on this image here. All I did was, again, fix the colors, the white balance, all that good stuff. So really impressed with product shots. Now here is where I started to use high-speed sync with the flashpoint trigger / speed light and the newer softbox. But as you can see, this one here, I did use the high-speed sync, so the flash did fire, and the background is basically on ambient light. So I think it performed really well. The subjects are nice and sharp. The tree is sharp. Obviously, I did a little bit of brightening on the tree and the subjects, but it turned out to be a really nice image. So I was really impressed with this here. Again, amazing that I was able to pull it off with a manual focus lens. I've gotten really quick at it. It's not that hard to master, and so don't be discouraged if you go with the lens that's manual focus with no electronics at all. I think that at first I was a little intimidated, but it's actually been a really cool experience to deal with manual focus. There's a shot of Adriana, one of my good friends here. This is a portrait shot. So as you can see, you have a full body here. She is nice and sharp on this image as well. Again, you know, the bokeh is nice and smooth. I did shoot it at about f1. or f4. So she's very sharp. I got zero fringing on this image. So again, once you start to close down the aperture, your fringing disappears. So I had no issues here with fringing whatsoever. This image was shot with high-speed sync, so that is why it looks the way it looks. This one here, another shot that was shot with high-speed sync. As you can see, the subjects are well lit. The background is nice and underexposed a little bit, just the way I like it. But as you can see, it is sharp. And let me just zoom in here. As you can see, it's a very sharp image. She's blurred, obviously, because I wanted her to be that way. I wanted the kids to be the focus of this photograph. But again, a very well performed by the Rokinon. No fringing whatsoever. Again, the flash did help a little bit there. But I've been super impressed with the Rokinon lens. For what I've used it so far, which is mainly portrait photography, I think it's performed flawlessly. I don't mind having a little bit of fringing when I shoot wide open. That's something that is super easy to fix with Affinity Photo. I may even do a video for you guys to show you how easy it is to get rid of fringing. But anyway, so far, very impressed with every single one of these shots here, from product photography to portraits, and even action, if you do, of course, compose your scene before the action happens. So anyway, that is my take on the Rokinon. It worked really well paired with my Sony A6000 and with the flashpoint trigger slash speed light. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Please follow us. Like, subscribe as always. My name is Edgar, signing off. Peace.
Well, I guess, and the reason we started Lifestyles Defined is because if we weren't on camera arguing about these things, the technologies, the phones, the iPhones, the Androids, the cameras, the games, we'd be on the phone arguing about it. We'd be in each other's houses arguing about it. So why not just put it in front of a camera for everyone to enjoy it the way we do? That's what Lifestyles Defined is all about. We just love this shit.